What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Tune into Let's Talk Podcast. Got your boy CJ Banks here with me, man.
Yo.
What's up, CJ, man? How you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. AKA DJ Cash.
DJ Cash. We got him in the building,
Big Banks.
Banks.
You know?
Yep. So
I'm going to take my headphones off if you don't
okay,
mind.
That's cool.
Yeah. So what's up, man?
Man, what's up with you? How was your day?
Crazy, man. It's busy.
Working hard?
It's a good busy.
Good busy. That's good. So we're going to start it off with this, man. Give us a little background on yourself. You from Buffalo?
Nah.
Tell us how it started, man. Give us some background on yourself.
So I started out, I was born in the Bronx.
Okay.
In the Boogie Down, the BX. You know what I'm saying? And lived there until I was about 13 years old. Then I moved out to Long Island. Lived out in Long Island until, college. I went to Binghamton. And then from Binghamton, I moved back to Long Island and then moved down to Florida.
No, you was everywhere.
Yeah. And then from Florida, moved here, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Florida, you moved to Buffalo from Florida?
Yep.
Now, what made you make that decision?
So, I used to own a nightclub down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What part of Florida?
Palm Coast.
Okay.
But my nightclub was in Daytona.
Oh.
Yep. So, and then I met my wife, and she's from Buffalo. So she was like,
I want to go back Buffalo story.
Nah, she wanted to move back to her family. Family's here, so
okay.
she wanted to get close, and then so we did that. You know what I'm saying?
So now, let's talk about your degree, which you got in psychology. How did you go upon getting that? What made you want to do that?
Well, my father is a psychologist.
Oh, your father's okay.
Yeah, and he's also a professor down in Long Island, and I've been around psychology my whole life. You know what I mean? So my it's just kind of ingrained in me. You know what I'm saying? So I went and I got, that's what I went to school for. Not that that's what I'm doing now. So I'm not even doing that now. You know what I'm saying?
I know you're a little bit everywhere.
But the psychology, you know what I'm saying? People don't know the psychology kind of helps you through all different parts of your life. You know what I'm saying?
Like what? Like
relationships. You know what I'm saying? If you can understand how a mind works and how we work as individuals. Okay. You start to, you start to be able to pull from those things to help you through relationships, even at work. You know what I'm saying? If relationships are everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true,
And you have a relationship with yourself, spiritual relationship, all those different things. So psychology is a big part of what we are as people.
Okay.
So, a lot of people think psychology is, mental health and only for people who, have mental health issues.
So it's not only for people that.
Nah, man. Psychology, like psychology is really, the study of the mind, study the way people are. You know what I'm saying? How people get to be who they are, and how to react to that as an individual.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it helped me. It helped me in every aspect of my career, every aspect.
It really helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. It helps me every day.
Now, did you take that and do you help others with it, or?
Absolutely. Like people out there that know me, my life is dedicated to helping the community, helping individuals. So everything that I do and everything that I am is based on that. So and I'm a strong believer in God. So I believe that I serve people through God. You know what I'm saying? So whatever I do it through God so that it affects people in the most positive way. You know what I'm saying? So, but I work, I'll sit and talk with people, I'm not a licensed, mental health counselor, but I got my graduate, certified in mental health counseling, but I haven't gotten my license. I don't even know if I'm gonna do that.
But you do get your certificate in it.
Yeah.
You have a degree.
Graduate certificate, and then I have my degree in psychology.
Okay.
And my minor was childhood development.
Okay.
So I'm a big proponent of helping youth. You know what I mean? I've done that my whole life.
So how was it with you growing up with your parents? Was your parents always there, or?
So good question. I had a rough childhood. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really I knew of my father. I met him a couple of times, but I didn't know my father until I was about 13 or 14. Okay. Everybody, relationships happen or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So between him and my mom, so I grew up with my mother and my stepfather.
Okay.
And you know, we grew up with some challenges. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of you know, drug abuse in neighborhood and things like that. I grew up in the Bronx, in the streets of the Bronx.
Right,
so,
the Bronx.
Yeah, so literally in the streets. There's been times when I just was in the streets for like weeks at a time, you know, on my own at like 7, 8 years old.
Really?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you know, I used to have some challenges at home. Don't really want to get into that, you know, that, but I used to run away, you know what I'm saying? And I remember the last time I ran away, the cops found me on a bench in the park.
Really?
I was sleeping on the bench in the park, yeah. So I, you know, from there, just kind of, you know, the cop was like, yo, it's the last time you're going to do this, or you're going to go in the group home. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then, so my mother, you know, thankfully reached out to my father and was like, yo, this kid is on the wrong track, and we need to make some changes. So she called my father. My father came one day and was like, yo, I'll see you Tuesday. And you're going to come live with me. And, you know, the rest was history, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I give a lot of credit to my father, but I also give credit to my mother. You know, I live, you know what I'm saying? I don't live in regrets. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
I feel like
right.
everything that I've done, everything I've been through for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's always multiple paths to get you to a destination.
That's a fact.
And while I'm happy with where I am now, I think that part of everything that I went through got me to where I am now. You know what I'm saying? Made me stronger and all of that. Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Yep.
That's good. That's good.
Yep.
So you came from a good background.
Yeah, I mean,
and we're from to where you at now. You know.
Yeah. It was. I wouldn't say good background. I would say challenge. I came from a challenging background. Yeah,
it built you to be
absolutely
who you are to this day.
Absolutely.
Which is, you know, yeah. So now, after that, that's when you started working with kids and everything, or.
Yeah, man. So, when I was like 17, I wrote this program called VIP. So I was always in the music business. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I had a little deal when I was younger and was able to, you know, be around some people. You know what I'm saying? My father took some money and invested into a recording studio.
Okay.
When I was like 17, and you know, I got into the production end because my group that I was with, like, it didn't work out.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So so my father, you know, put some money together and got my first recording studio, and I started, you know, learning from there. But then on the same note, I had you know, been around, like, you know, the different record labels and different producers and things like that. So I actually bumped into you know, EPMD. You know what I'm saying? The rap group, The Legends, you know what I'm saying? Parrish Smith. And Tink, who was at that time, I think he was head of the, or partner. Tink is Parrish Smith's cousin.
Yeah.
So he kind of, you know, we got together, just started linking up all the time, and I was doing some promotions at the time, so I was promoting shows and things like that. So I got Parrish a couple of shows and did a couple of college things with him, and Tink and I kind of linked up, and ever since then it was history. Him and I we did almost everything together. You know what I'm saying? Man. Studios.
So that's when you started becoming a DJ.
Yep. So it's crazy, right? So, all right, I'm gonna take it on the timeline, right?
Okay, go to timeline. Yeah.
So, honestly, when I lived in the Bronx, I had nothing to do with real music. You know what I'm saying? I really didn't even know my father, and I'll tell you, my father was into music. He was part of a group called the Exclusives. Okay. Who won, like, I think 7 times in a row in Showtime with Apollo, and was managed by Cuba Gooding Sr. You know, Cuba Gooding Jr. is the actor, but his father was into management, managed the Main Ingredient and other people. So he managed my father and his group called the Exclusives. So I didn't even know that, right? But, you know, I believe that we kind of have these innate skills and talent that get passed down through generations, right? So when I moved to Long Island, I wasn't rapping or nothing. And then I walk into a lunchroom one day, and one of my first days out there, and I run into this dude Wayne Roundtree, who's the best friend of mine now. You know what I'm saying? And you know how when you're in high school, I was middle school. When you're in middle school, everybody kind of sits in the lunchroom together, different cliques or whatever. So I sit at this table, and my man, and they was all at the table, kind of like rapping and all of that stuff. So I was like, oh, that's dope. You know what I mean? So then they were like, let's go in the bathroom. So we go in the bathroom, and in the bathroom, you used to get this echo. So I had my man, Andy Nichols, he used to go in the corner with the and beatboxing, and it was crazy, right? The beat was crazy. So we just started writing and rapping. You know, things fell apart or whatever, but me and my man, Wayne, we decided to start a group, him and I. So we stayed into it, and then we just stayed, you know, just doing music. And then I get into, like I said, I got into a deal, and that kind of didn't work out. So then my father, like I said, opened a studio or invested in a studio. So I started working there, learning all about it. A little bit different than, you know, studios now. I was more like analog and all of that. So I did that for a minute, and then forever, like I still, you know, I'm in the music business. Still,
you gotta let them know you was a DJ when it was called not the Oak Room.
So I'm gonna get there. All right. So I know we don't got all day. So you know, I was in the music shit, and I could curse on here, right? Yeah. So I was in the music thing for a while. Then we went down to then you know, I went to college. I still was doing music. Like I did some music up in Binghamton, did some promotions or whatever. I was part of the group that brought Biggie to Binghamton, brought Nas to Binghamton. We did a lot of things while I was in college, and then we moved. And then I got done with college, moved back down to Long Island, went to and then you know decided I had some family out in Florida and moved down there to Palm Coast. Palm Coast is like between Jacksonville and Daytona.
Okay.
So I went down there, lived there for a minute, and then was doing some other stuff like in the corporate world. I was a manager at Eckerd Drugstore and things like that. And then, but always wanted to be, you know, do the music thing. So one day I just was like, you know what, I ain't doing this corporate thing anymore. I'm doing my own thing. So I ran into somebody that owned a nightclub, like the building. Okay. And back, you know, in Florida, like the liquor license for the liquor license goes with the building. Okay. So he had a liquor license and everything. He was like, yo, I'm trying to, you know, set something up. There was two clubs. There was Fuel and Gossip was my club, but Fuel was here, and then we had Gossip, and we ended up, you know, taking over that portion of the club, you know, Gossip portion, and that was like the hip hop, you know, the black version, and Fuel was the white version. Okay. But what was dope was that the doors opened in the middle of the club. The doors open. So in the middle of the night, we would open up, and then it would just like be slumped. So, but just to tell you, like when I was like 14 or 15, I got into DJing too. So I used to, you know, with tables and all of that. So I used to DJ like house parties and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Parties at school and things like that. But then, so when I was down in Florida, we did the club and I was DJing. I was the DJ. As a matter of fact, I was like number one DJ, one of the number one DJs for like 4 years in a row in Daytona Beach. So I was doing that, then met my wife, whatever, and then we ended up losing the liquor license because a partner of mine that had the space kind of didn't pay the tax or whatever for the liquor license, so we ended up losing it. Okay. So I had to shut the nightclub down. So at the same time, you know, my wife was talking about she wanted to come, you know, move back to Buffalo. So I was like, yo, let's go.
Back to Buffalo with the
club. I was a nomad back then.
So now you already got your degree in psychology. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're not using it though down there.
Oh no, then I didn't have my degree yet. Oh, I didn't have my not that now. I thought you meant now. No, then I didn't have my degree. Then.
Okay, so I was back to Buffalo.
I went back to Buffalo and then finished. School because I went to school in Binghamton, but I didn't finish because I was in the music stuff and all of that. So then by the time, you know, I was like, wait a second, this music thing ain't gonna pay me forever. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I need to go back. So, you know, and family, you know, I started having kids and all that. I'm like, yo, I need something, you know what I'm saying? So I went back.
So that's when you got, now how long were you into psychology before you said you wanted to give up and go back to music again?
So it's crazy because even when I was in school, like I was already in a career. I started working for the Buffalo Urban League.
Oh, the Buffalo Urban League.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, what is the Buffalo Urban League?
So the Buffalo Urban League is a civil rights organization started in 1927 here in Buffalo. And man, it's every program that you could think of to help our community.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? It's super dope organization. It provides, housing, counseling, housing assistance,
everything.
I was in charge of the youth programming. So, I created like an entrepreneurship program for the youth. I ran the after school program and the summer youth program, all the earn and learn.
Now, how long have you been doing the Urban League for? How long was you in there for?
I was there for 7 years.
7 years.
And I went from a part-time facilitator. So this is what happened. When I came to Buffalo, the first thing I was doing was DJing.
Okay.
So I used to DJ at the Groove.
Okay.
The real
original Groove.
I ain't gonna say the real. Let me fix
that. Said the real Groove.
The original Groove.
The original.
You know what I'm saying? With my Sean or whatever. So I used to DJ. with DJ Spin, Warlock, Illmatic. All of them. I was, saying. So I used to DJ at the Groove, and also I ended up taking over the Opium Lounge, which was right next door to the Groove.
Okay.
So I was DJing there and did that for a while, but then, the DJing hip hop is a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop clubs are different. You know what I'm saying? Especially in Buffalo, it was crazy. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I really at one point was talking to them about kind of taking, becoming part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But it was just too much going on. People fighting and getting killed and all that stuff. So I decided to step off, into something different. So I opened 2 ice cream parlors.
Okay.
One on Walden and Academy, the Dairy Queen.
You opened that up?
Yep. And then,
no, really?
Yep. And then the one on Delavan and Herb. So those 2 were mine for about 2 years. But I had that. That was good money, man. The ice cream business is good money.
That's what a lot of people say. You could get real rich off of ice cream, man.
The only challenge was, the
wintertime.
The wintertime was one issue, but people were constantly breaking into the space. Yeah, man. I was like, it was costing me more money. Yeah, it's costing me more money. So I was like, let me get out of that. So I got out of that, and my man, DJ A1. You remember A1?
DJ A1 for you.
Yeah. He used to DJ at like Birchfields and all of that. So he had an uncle that owned the Uncle Johnny's building on Utica.
Okay, I know where that is.
And there was a deli space up there with ice cream machine and all that. So I was like, let me get into that. So I went over there, met him, started working with him, and opened the deli. So I opened the deli, the sub shop. It was called Uncle Johnny's Utica Station Subs. Did that for a while, but I had like this high priced meat. It was called Boar's Head. It's a New York style. It's a New York style. A New York company. Like that's what New York delis use. It's not Boar's Head meat, but that's the brand.
Okay, right? I got you.
So so I was doing that, but the cost was high because it cost me a lot for that meat because it was like genuine roast beef, genuine turkey, like. It was like real.
So it was
meat.
Expensive. Was it selling though?
Right down. It was selling, but a building down was the corner store where they was selling like $2 subs. You know what I'm saying? 12-foot subs. So it was like, that didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? For me either.
No, you can't compete with no cheap subs.
Nah.
People getting food stamps and all that.
Yeah, people was like, we don't care about that good meat, man. Right. We don't care about. You know what I'm saying? We don't care about that. We care about and rightfully so. People just couldn't afford it. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't work out.
It's all about the area too. Yeah.
So then I'm a serial entrepreneur. So if I don't own my own business, then something's wrong. You know what I'm saying? So while I had the sub shop and that closed down, I started working at Kmart. I was a store manager at Kmart up in Niagara Falls on Mason Road, and so I was there for a while. And then they were closing down their restaurant area. So I bought all the equipment from there and then went back to the Uncle Johnny's building, and I was going to, do like a actual real restaurant in there because I had like the pizza ovens and everything. But it wasn't zoned for that, so I ended up selling the equipment. But my man Lamont had the basement he had a full basement. It used to be a salon down there.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, I got this space. And I was like, man, I want to open a recording studio. I wanted to get back into music. So I rented a space from him, opened a recording studio. I had a screen printing. So I also did screen printing. So, printing shirts and all of that.
Okay.
So I had the screen printing shop, the recording studio, and the photography studio all in the same space. You know what I'm saying? So I did that for a while. And then I remember sometime around Christmas, I don't remember what year, somebody broke in and stole everything.
So it's just all about the location.
Yep, stole everything. So
people with nothing don't want to see you with nothing. You gotta do. It's all about the location. It's bad. It's sad.
Yeah.
But it's the location. You see what just happened during the storm. People were breaking in.
Exactly. So they broke in,
stole
my computers, everything. So that kind of set me back. So then I went back to work again, but this time I went to work for the Buffalo Urban League. So that's what I was getting to.
Oh, that's when you was there with the 7 years.
So the Urban League, the guy that owned the building, Lamont, he actually worked for the Urban League too. He was a coordinator for the youth program. He asked me, I was talking about a program I wanted to run in my studio. He's like, man, you should come. Like they had like a trips that they were doing. You should come and volunteer for a trip to work with the youth. So I did that one summer. I got into. I went one summer and I was like, yo, this is dope, man. The Urban League is dope. Like this is what I'm meant to do, work with these youth and help the youth. So I was like, yo, I made a commitment then. So it's there. So I went from a volunteer to a part-time facilitator. Then from part-time facilitator, I became the coordinator of the youth program, ran, the entire youth program, and then moved to vice president of the Buffalo Urban League. You know what I'm saying?
Within vice president.
Years. Yep. And I was, and this is what I'm saying. Like, so everything you learn, like I said, everything you learned or everything I've learned and been through has helped me in different areas. So I was doing all the marketing stuff, even while I was not the vice president of development and communications. I was doing I did the Urban League's website. I did all of their shirts. I redid the logo. I did all of this stuff because I was a graphic designer. So I was able to do all of those things. Right. And I did it, not that I was getting paid to do it. It's just that because number one, I wanted the people to see my skill, right? But then number two, I wanted to, I want the companies that I work for, I want them to be the best.
Right. So you were showing your work first.
Exactly.
You was committed.
Exactly. So then they
took a loss, you sacrificed.
Yep, exactly. So then they honestly saw it. You know what I'm saying? And little by little I was promoted, and I became the vice president of the Urban League.
So what is it that you do now?
So after I was at the Urban League, then while I was at the Urban League, I was on the board of directors for an organization called EPIC. Every Person Influences Children. I left sometime, after 7 years. I felt like I needed a change, so I got offered a position at EPIC, Every Person Influences Children, which is a parenting education organization, but it does professional development and all of that stuff. But they hired me to run the parenting programs.
Okay.
So I did that for 3 years. And then after that, I got offered a job at the company I'm at now, Bitwise.
Okay. Now, with the job you're doing with helping the kids, do you see changing in kids that you're actually helping? Are they're growing to be better? Or
man, great question, right? So a lot of times when you're working with families, working with kids or whatever, you don't see the change right then.
Okay, right.
Because it takes time to change, right? It's not like you can't just walk into somebody's life and they've been a certain way or, for generations and think you could just kind of go in and say, oh, this is what you do. And they're like, oh, I never knew that. And they start doing it. You feel me? So it took time to see. But when I started seeing it recently. Like I got kids coming up to me, some of my old students, and coming up to me saying like, "Yo, you don't even know the things that you taught me, how it's helped me." You know what I'm saying? And I see people like doing business, you know what I'm saying, changing, you know, it really did change their lives. But sometimes it takes a little time for it to get through the head and see the value of what they're learning. Because when you're in a program, you're a kid, you're in a program, you're just thinking like, yeah, I just want to get in and get out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But not knowing that it's really going to help
exactly,
you.
Exactly.
So sometimes it sticks to them too.
Mm-hmm, yeah? Exactly. So, yeah, so I definitely see, you know, I got an email from a guy in Chicago. I used to go down to the National Urban League. They used to have a convention every year, like all the urban leagues, because the National Urban League, the urban leagues are everywhere, in multiple states. So I used to go down and teach, like robotics and coding class down there, right? So I taught a drone flying kind of program for the National Urban League. Yeah. So I taught a program to kids, and you know I didn't even think about it. It was actually a robotics class, and then we put a drone together, and the kids got a chance to fly it or whatever. And then last year, I got an email out of nowhere from this guy in Chicago. He's like, "Mr. Banks, I don't know if you remember me, but you know you changed my life. Like I'm a licensed pilot, drone pilot right now, and all of that stuff, all because of that program." And you know it's crazy. It's like you don't like I didn't think of that person, you know, as I'm gonna watch this kid do this or whatever. Right. But it affects, you know, it only takes one person to change somebody's life. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be a family member or whatever. You know,
that's true.
And you know, I'm a foster parent. So I've done foster. I've had over 17 foster kids.
Over 17 foster kids?
Yep. So I've done that. You know, some was respite, some was actually living with us. But respite is like you take care of other people's, you know, foster families need a break sometimes or whatever. So we'll take them in. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, over 17 kids that we've you know affected, you know, their lives. How many did you adopt? Only two. Only two. And I would have done more. Just, you know, the thing about foster care is a lot of people don't know that when you get into foster care, it's not like doing foster care. It's not about keeping the kids. It's not a way to get kids, right? Okay. It's about providing support for families so that they can get on their feet or get back, you know, to a even playing ground. So like moms and dads might be going through, you know, issues or whatever, and they can't really be good parents at that moment. Gotcha. So the city or the county provides help by, you know, finding foster parents to provide that support for the family. So but two of them I adopted. They're now 5 and 4. Okay. I also have a baby that she just recently was returned home. We had her since she was in the hospital, like when she was born. Really? But she just recently returned home. She's 1.5 years now, but I get to see her every like Monday. You know, we get to see her, so she comes and stays with us still. But part of being foster, I just wanted to add, you know, part of being foster parents is also being a resource to the parent. You know, making sure that you give them every opportunity to succeed because you really want that reunification, right? You really want the child. They say that, you know, the child does better, you know, with a blood relative, you know what I'm saying? So they call it family first. So yep. So whole bunch of stuff, man. That's not even it, right? So Bitwise.
Yeah, let's talk about Bitwise.
Bitwise, man, listen.
So you just got into Bitwise a couple months ago.
6 months ago.
6 months
Seven now. 7 months. Yep.
That was a big promotion, man.
Yeah, it was good.
How you liking on paychecks?
Yeah, I'm not doing bad. You know what I'm saying?
How you like it on paychecks?
Listen,
I told you.
Let me tell you, man. It's a different, you know, you a lot of us, we work in jobs that don't like you don't get paid your worth. Right. You know what I'm saying?
You overly work and less.
Yeah. And which listen, if you're at a job and you're only working what you're worth, you're never going to get better, right? That's true. Why me as a boss am I going to pay you more money for you doing just your job?
That's true.
Right? So you got to build value. So I've always, in all my jobs,
it depends on where you work at, because some jobs you can't get a promotion.
Well, that's not true. This is what I'm saying. You're right in some because there's something like a glass ceiling, right? Like you get to a level you just can't go any higher because there's a boss and you can't be the boss. However, the more value you bring to a company, the more likely you may not get a promotion, but you can get more money, right? And that's what it's about, right?
From that same job, or
if you so listen, there's been jobs that I had that I'm like doing all of this extra work. And what it does is it builds value, right? It builds, like, they need me because nobody's doing that.
Okay, so basically you're saying they need you to do A, B, C, but you bring it E, D, F to the table.
Right. And then when I'm like, yo, I'm not getting paid enough, I think I will move off to another job. If they can, and you've built that value, what are they going to do? They're going to be like, how much is that job going to pay you? Because I'm going to give you that. Right. Because we want you to stay here.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, you're not going to get more money. I can't say position-wise, right? But you're not going to get more money if you're only doing the bare minimum. Your bare minimum. And a lot of people go into that thing like, yeah, it's a job or whatever. But you know what I'm saying?
You're saying you got to go hard.
You got to go hard, man. 100%, man. 150%. You got to do 150, especially us as black people. Yeah. Us as black people, we got to do 50% more, if not more, than what our counterparts.
That's true.
Right?
That's
because
true.
They're going to look at us and already classify. Think about this. They're classifying us as 80, already at 60, 50, right? 50. So you got your white counterpart right here at 100%. They once you get into the job, they're like, oh, this person's not at that level, right? So now
when they show that you're there, they just do the
exactly.
Then you got to be like,
or they like, or if you do get here, they're like, oh, you just one of the good ones, right? So but we're here now. You got to do this just to get that's. Equitable, just that's equity, right? Just to get here, you got to do so much work to get here. And for no reason whatsoever, you could be the same education, have the same education, the same skill set, but you still got to do that 50%. Now to get noticed, they're still looking at this one. You got to go all the way up here. Yep. So you're doing 150% just to get, that 100%. So that's true. My thing is that I know that's the truth, right? I know that's the truth. So what I do,
you go harder.
I go even 200%. Like I'm gonna fight to get
double.
Exactly. And it's all based on what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? If you want to just be mediocre and live your life.
Mediocre people though.
You do need
You need mediocre people
because it makes me look better.
Whether you believe we need mediocre people, like you need people. That's not to say you better than them, but down there, you need them.
Yo,
everybody can't be at the top.
Absolutely,
that's just the bottom line. Everybody can't be at the top.
Unfortunately, I just don't want to be one. I just never.
I just don't want to be
one of them mediocre people. Like I really want to.
Because you work too hard, so you can't be mediocre. People.
Exactly.
Some people don't want to work hard. Some people is comfortable where they at.
Right. So this. So I was getting to say that we. I work for organizations that were great organizations, and I work.
Right?
I'm not talking about okay. So I work for nonprofits, right?
Okay.
So Buffalo Urban League, Epic, and the need for work is still there, right? The need for hard workers and people dedicated is still there. But the one thing about nonprofits is they have that mentality a lot of times that we're a nonprofit, so we can't afford those salaries. Right. So you're working, and let me tell you something. I think it's by design that the majority of people that work in these nonprofits are women and minorities, right?
Okay.
And people in the lower, you know what I'm saying, and they're because they're paid less, right? I'm not talking about like the presidents and that, but I'm saying the workers, right? They're paid less. So why do you think that, people coming out of college with from Harvard and all that are not working in a nonprofit area? Because you don't get paid.
You don't get paid, right?
I'm sure a lot of those people that come out of college, those great colleges want to give back to the people.
What if they own a nonprofit organization? That's where the money at, they say own one.
Well, you can't own a nonprofit. A nonprofit. So the thing is, you could be the president, the CEO. You could have hold a title in there, but you can't be an owner. You could be a founder, right? But a nonprofit is this.
Oh, the founder.
Yeah, because I can't make,
because it's not profit.
Right. I can't make $1 million in my nonprofit. You know, I have a nonprofit called the Corp Foundation. I can't take that nonprofit and make $1 million and be like, yo, I'm a millionaire.
That's true.
Right? It's really based off the programs you run. That money stays in your nonprofit. So whatever you make, it needs to, if you're doing it right, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Whatever you make, that stays in the nonprofit. Now, I could put myself on a salary, right? But I could say, okay, my salary is $1 million. But here's the challenge. If you're a nonprofit, you have to have a board, right? And your board, if they're doing the job right, their job right, they need to make sure that you're spending money in an ethical way. You're being good stewards of the money, because most of your money is donations or a grant money or whatever.
So that's like a church. Similar. A church is a nonprofit.
So yep.
Wow.
Yep. Okay. And so you can't just be like, yo, this is the money that I made. That's why, hence the word nonprofit. You can't just take the profit and put it in your pocket. Right. So if I put myself on a salary for, let's say, $100,000, right? If my nonprofit makes $1 million, I still only get paid $100,000. Now I could ask the board for a raise because I'm doing so well to get me to $1 million, but that's the board's decision. You know what I'm saying? So
that's wrong. Yeah.
What's crazy is if you're a nonprofit, if you're the founder of a nonprofit, you could lose it in a minute. Like a nonprofit, you have a board.
You could lose it.
Yeah, you have a board. They could vote you out as the president and CEO. They can say, you know what?
That's crazy.
It is crazy, right?
Imagine coming up with a nonprofit organization and you do so well that the board just say, "Oh, we want you."
That's why why it's important to find the right people on your board that believes in the mission and believes your value in that mission, right? Because if you
how do you get rid of people that's on the board?
Man, so my board, you know, I got like Paris Smith from EPMD. He's on my board. I got actually my aunt. She's been in the nonprofit world for a long time, so she's on my board. I have my partner Tink is on my board. So my nonprofit is Corp Foundation, and I know we didn't get into Bitwise, but my nonprofit is based on, like, I built a recording studio, and that recording studio is really not open for business. It's really to help youth. It says an incentive for youth. Okay. So there's a lot of programs out here that claim to be like recording studios to help youth. You know what I mean? But their studios are trash, right? You got a laptop and a little mic, and they say, "Oh, we're teaching people how to record." Okay. I believe that if you really want to incentivize and you really want to affect these kids, it's about presentation. Like, take them into a studio. Right. Take them into a studio, see the real studio, see what a real studio looks like. So I spent, close to $100,000 into the studio, and it wasn't to make money, but it was to give these kids the idea. And look, you take a kid. So let me tell you what it is. So the program that I have, the Corp Foundation, it's the HYPE program, and it's helping youth proclaim excellence, right? Okay. HYPE. And what it is we go into the schools, we partner with the schools, right? Mm-hmm. And we look for kids that are on the verge of getting kicked out of school due to attendance or grades, right? Not behavior, because that's a little bit more intensive and needs some more work, more things. But right. So
but you got that. You
but I can't do it all. So but attendance and grades. And what happens is I meet with the guidance counselors and I give them what I call studio bucks, right? So it's like $5,000 in studio gift certificates, but I call them studio bucks, right? So now you have a kid that's on the verge of getting kicked out of school for attendance. Okay. So then you as a guidance counselor or the teacher or the principal say, "Hey, listen, we got this program. You want to be in music. I know you're a rapper or a singer or whatever. We got this program. Every week that you come to school on time and don't miss a day that whole week, we're going to give you a $200 certificate that you can take that certificate and pay for studio time at, Enough Said Exclusive at our recording studio." Oh, wow. That's we don't get paid per hour from the kids. You know what I'm saying? We just do the part. We get those studio bucks. And what happens is that we write grants and we're looking for grant money to support that, so that we can get paid some type of, bring in some type of money for the studio sessions. But at this point, I'm kind of fronting out of my pocket because we haven't written the grants yet, but this year we'll be writing grants. I'm only a year into it, so I wanted to kind of have some results or whatever before I start approaching any of the foundations.
Okay. How's it going so far?
It's going great. We're looking for students. So really any of your listeners.
If you're listening, he's telling you right now, you having trouble, kids, absence and what else is
absence or grades. You want to get the grades up. And listen, it's not even like, these kids get certificates to record in the studio even if they go from an F to a D. It's not like you got to be an A student or whatever. It's incremental change. That's how you really change people's lives. So if you have a kid that a son, nephew, neighbor that really loves music and wants to be a rapper or a singer or whatever, or even wants to get into production, you know what I'm saying? My website is corpfoundation.org.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The corpfoundation.org. Or maybe Corp Foundation Inc. No, it's corpfoundation.org. Go to the website. My contact information is on there. And if anybody wants to make any donations, you can too. But that's definitely a great opportunity to get your child.
That's a dope. If your kid likes music.
Yep, exactly.
And nowadays a lot of kids love
exactly.
music.
Hip hop is the world.
Keep your kid at school. He's the man.
Exactly.
And if y'all see his studio, that joint fire.
Yeah. That's part of it. This is part of it. So we actually in the studio. Man. So the other part about it is that while I'm doing that, I'm also, like I said, the vice president of Bitwise.
Bitwise, okay, looking at Bitwise.
And Bitwise is, I got into the whole story because I'm saying first of all, they pay me for my work, right? Bitwise does.
Like I said, man, how them checks been?
Yeah, it's definitely long time coming. You know what I'm saying? Overdue. I feel like I've done a lot of work in my life. And, I don't even owe it to myself. I owe it to God because I think that he's given me a lot of talents and the ability to learn, different skills and the drive to learn different skills that has helped me. But Bitwise is a different animal, man. It's a company that started in Fresno, California. Fresno is a farmland. It's a place where it's really agriculture.
Now, what is your position in Bitwise?
Vice president.
Vice president. Okay.
Yep. So what it is that they opened, Bitwise opened in Fresno, California, and they have multiple buildings in Fresno, right? And it's a tech company. So we provide tech services, website development, mobile app development, integration, mobile app integration, staff augmentation. So, and I could explain that, at a different time. But so we provide all of these different services. But what's different about Bitwise is that, so say you're Let's Talk Podcast, you want to build your own website.
Right.
We'll partner with you. We'll build your website for a cost, right?
Okay.
But what will happen is we also provide apprenticeships.
Really?
So we take individuals from the communities that we move into. So Bitwise started in California, then it started expanding out to expansion cities. Buffalo is one of them. The VPs are the people who lead the way in the expansion city. So, I lead the Buffalo, New York area.
Right, you got this whole area.
And, the Western New York, 60-mile radius that we serve in this community as far as our Bitwise impact. So what it is that we will do workforce development, right?
Okay.
So we'll provide we'll take somebody that is so we know that the average person in tech careers is either middle-aged, middle-aged white guy or Asian, you know what I'm saying? But that's literally who's in the tech world, right?
Yeah, that's a fact.
Unfortunately, so I met a lot of companies while I was at Bitwise, right? And still meeting a lot of companies. And they asked me, they say, hey, I asked them, what's your biggest, problem? What's your biggest pain point? And they always say, talent acquisition. They have a hard time finding talent, finding people to work for them, right? Especially, especially in the companies that, the big companies, right? They have a hard time finding enough talent. So But the challenge with that is that if every company is fishing from the same pond, you're gonna run out of fish.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So what Bitwise does, and Irma, who is RC, Irma and Jake and Beth, they're we call them 3 EOs. What they decided, and Irma was one of the co-founders, decided to do was take that understanding and change it, right? By not only providing the opportunity for these companies to now have access to untapped talent, like people from the inner city communities, Black, brown, people that are traditionally overlooked, right? Women, formerly incarcerated, all those individuals. They created this company to upskill those individuals and then help them get into the into the talent pool. But then we uplift all these skills, but we can't change the mentality of the individuals that own those other companies. So they're still not getting hired, right? They're still not. Now you got all these skills, and we didn't make this up. There's a lot of companies that do that. We're going to train people, right? We're going to train people. But then now look, they're still not getting hired. So what happens is Irma and Bitwise and Jake and what they decided to do is now say, you know what? If you're not going to hire them, we're going to hire them. So now 60% of the individuals that come out of our apprenticeship program, we hire into our Bitwise company. You know what I'm saying? And while they're in the apprenticeship, what they're doing is they're actually learning the skills necessary to become, tech professionals. Now you're talking about people that, if you get we don't have a prerequisite. Like, we're not saying like you have to have a college degree. We're not saying that you even have to have a high school diploma, or we're not saying that you have to have, you could never have been to jail or whatever the case may be. This is like literally we remove all barriers. Got you. Now that's dope. So you come you come here, you're going to learn, you're going to have the opportunity. And the only requirement is dedication. Be dedicated, learn, do your best to learn. And when I tell people all the time, when I talk to them and get them into our apprenticeship program, I say, you know what? Don't just wait for a class to come each week and then you learn and then you go out and do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. You need to be in it. You need to dig into it. You need to learn. Like, everything that I've learned in my life, other than psychology, I learned on my own. Reading books, YouTube, all those different things. Like, I do everything. You were self-motivated. Champ, I do construction. Like, what I'm saying? You do it all. I do everything. And how do I do it? I learn, man.
Hard work and dedication, man. Exactly. That's what really gets you far in life.
That's the only thing that gets you far in life.
You really got to put that work in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Some people do luck up getting it passed down to them, but...
Mm-hmm. And even when it gets passed down, it's not...
You got to maintain it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not permanent.
You get it passed down, you got to maintain it.
Exactly. So I tell my kids
all the time... You still got to put that work in.
I tell my kids all the time, like, yo, I will never be broke.
Hell,
never.
Right.
I have been broke. Hell. But at the level I am right now, and I'm not even talking about investments, 401k, and all of that stuff, what I have in the bank. I'm talking about if somebody came to me right now and took all of everything, all my assets away, I still the next day will have money because I know how to do too much.
Yeah, like, you know how to hustle.
I know how to hustle.
You're a hustler.
And a lot of us in the community are hustlers.
Yeah.
That's what's great about it, man. Like, people think, drug dealers and people like that. Yo, listen, even as a drug dealer, you're a hustler.
That's a fact.
I seen drug dealers. I told you, I grew up in the streets, man. I seen drug dealers get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and don't go back in until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're hustlers.
They're hustlers.
Now, this is the thing with drug dealers doing that. They can take all their time and do that and risk their whole life. Mm-hmm. If you got self-motivation to get up and get on the block and hustle, put that negative energy, turn it to positive energy, put that same energy to something positive.
Let me ask you
without consequences.
Okay, let me ask you something. If everything you watched on TV and everything you heard on music and everything you've seen in the papers and books and all of that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. If all of that was about people riding around with rims and diamond chain, iced out chains or whatever, and they got that from McDonald's, what do you think everybody would be? trying to fight to get into McDonald's for a job, right?
That's true.
But everywhere we look, what is glorified?
Materialistic,
and how do they get it? They drug dealing.
That's what they think.
That's what they think.
That's
right.
what's promoted.
Right. Exactly.
That's what's promoted.
Exactly. So the movies and all of that.
What's promoted?
It's promoted. So
and it look good.
Right. They're like, oh, that's how I get it. I don't see nobody really riding around with the Teslas and all of that stuff working at McDonald's. There are people. The people that that
put
own
that
it,
work in.
They put that work in. The owner, the managers, they got money. You know what I'm saying? They got 401ks. They're going to last long. The difference between a drug dealer and someone who owns a McDonald's is the future. Right?
The future. That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? It's the future. It's like, because as a drug dealer, tomorrow's not promised. At least at McDonald's.
Tonight not promised.
Right? At least at McDonald's, I know I have something, even if I lose that job, I can go somewhere else and be like, yo, I work here. Can you come to me and say, yo, I was a drug dealer, so you give me a job? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That skill set is not something that
right, but that's what's promoted, and that's crazy as hell that you said that you think about it. Mm-hmm. It's all about what's promoted.
Exactly.
Like the music nowadays, you see the little shit that they saying, and it's just crazy how.
And just I want to
music has a big impact on your whole life.
Everything does. And let me tell you something.
TV.
I have a real problem with people trying to equate hip hop as a negative. Hip hop as negative in our communities. Right? They say, oh, it's this rap music. It's making people go out and kill people, making people go. Listen, there's violence everywhere. There's violence in the Bible.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? The difference between what our kids are doing now and our people are doing now is that there's no balance, right? When we see TV, we see our black people on TV. Even now, most of them is those gangster roles. You know what I'm saying? There are better. There's better outcomes right now. There's better shows and people doing some positive stuff, but still, it doesn't equate. It's not equitable in that realm where we're still portraying our black people as negative. We're portraying ourselves. Look at YouTube, flip through or Instagram.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
and it's like being negative, or that's it. People glorify it.
Yeah, because
so you really gotta balance it. You
gotta balance it. You like that's with my crazy. Kids. I don't tell my kids they can't listen to certain music. Like, yo, you're not allowed to listen to hip hop. Yo, I'm hip hop head to the core. I've been in hip hop. I'm like a boom bap historian. Like, I love hip hop. I've been in hip hop. Been around all of the greats. So I think that I would never tell somebody. I wouldn't. That's why I say I have a problem with people talking about how hip hop is so
like
negative.
You said, it's everywhere. It's not just hip hop.
It's everything.
But
man.
Music has a big impact on the youth and
entertainment does.
Yes, entertainment.
Right. Let me tell you something. Music is just one form.
If you ask me, football is violence.
Everything is.
Look
violence.
at it. Like, think about it. Yeah. Football is violence.
Boxing, UFC. You know what I'm saying? Now you got UFC that's actually sitting there. People are watching, and they're getting bloodied up and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you got one of our people, right, a black male out in the street fighting, and they punch somebody, and they gets knocked out, he dies. They blame it on hip hop, but they don't blame it on UFC.
That's true.
And you don't see nobody really punching people in rap. This is just words, spoken word. But you literally see that. You don't blame it on boxing. You know what I'm saying? Now you watching all of the gangster movies that are out there, and I'm not even talking about like the hood movies. I'm talking about like Godfather and all those movies that have been out, and the movies that are out right now with killing and shooting and all of that stuff. But we want to blame hip hop.
Yeah.
Because you got a black person in hip hop saying it. The only reason why it's blamed is because it's part of our black culture. And it's easier to blame the black culture than it is to say this is a societal issue in a whole. The reality is that violence
is in everything.
Is attractive to humans for some reason.
Yeah.
You're flipping through Instagram and you see somebody in there and a desk working on work, you're gonna flip past it. But if you see somebody squaring up, you're like, "Oh, what was that about?" You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely
negativity, man. It's
negativity,
really
right?
Like that's what people that draws
attracts people.
And that's just weird.
And without jeopardizing. I don't want to get canceled, right? But what I would say is by design. It's by design, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, right? Right? But it's by design. I think that for many years, and I'm not saying somebody's intentional, like somebody sitting in office is intentionally doing it, but our society in America has literally designed from way back when they were portraying black men as rapists and danger to white women, and what I'm saying, back, and then it was like the only way you could be in movies is if you was a slave or if you was a servant or something like that, or gay. Then it went into the gay. Only way you could be in it is gay. Like for me, it's more about those things, all multimedia, internet, all that is what shapes our mind.
Right.
And when we start to see it and see it and see it and see it, then we become brainwashed and think that really is who we are. You know what I'm saying? And listen, there's psychological issues, right? People have psychological issues. I believe that. It's not like people are killing people because they just seen it in the music, or
people
heard
those
it in music.
That's actually where the music and the movies come from.
Exactly.
Real life situations.
Exactly. Yep.
So
it's crazy. But and like I said, getting back to Bitwise, man, so Bitwise has the social impact piece where we upskill individuals from underserved communities. And then what we also do is community development. So we buy buildings in these cities. Okay. And like we acquired a building on Sycamore and Mortimer, on the corner of Sycamore and Mortimer.
Okay, I know that building.
The RC Cola building. And we're beautifying that building. We're infusing it with technology.
So did you guys purchase it yet?
Yep.
Oh, you did.
We acquired it. We're working with a developer and creating it, to turn it into a what we call a castle in the underdog city. Okay. So this space is not just for Bitwise. This space is for the community. So if you own your business, if you want to do, start your own business or whatever, we're gonna have a space for you there with very low cost rent. Like you can get a desk for like $24 a day if you just need it for a day, or we got anywhere from a desk to your own office, huge space you'll be able to have in there. We'll have daycare. We'll have transportation, free transportation.
Oh, that's wrong.
We'll have,
something like Urban League.
Exactly.
Well,
a little bit different. Like Urban League,
it's not right. Non-profit.
Right. It's more so a business, a space to uplift people, to help them get into get their
at a lower cost.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, that's dope.
Exactly.
That's dope.
Yep.
Yeah, that's raw. I like that.
So that's exciting. And we work in the civic space, meaning with, we call ourselves a economic development engine. So we're not really just here to make money for ourselves, but we're here to bring money to the community. So we want to help individuals start their own business to raise money and stay in the community. We meet with politicians, and I just came back from DC, meeting with representatives and trying to get their support in what we're doing with our apprenticeships and our community development and things like that. So
okay,
yeah,
well, that's what's up. That's dope.
Yeah, and so this is what I'll tell you. I'm reaching out, and a lot of people know I'm reaching out to a lot of people. We're going to have some positions available. What I'll tell you about Bitwise is that Bitwise is the main, the headquarters is in Fresno, but we're here in Buffalo, and we're built by Buffalo, for Buffalo. Like our staff are going to be hired from Buffalo. I have 7 people that work in Buffalo right now.
What's the starting salary, man? I might apply. Come on,
I'll tell you what.
Let's Bitwise,
I'll tell you what, Bitwise is focused on getting people to at least $70,000 a year to start. $60,000 to $70,000 a year to start. And that's just, coming out of your apprenticeship. But, I don't want to talk about how much money I make, but I ain't
gonna tell you how much I make, but I'm a vice president.
Yeah, exactly. But I could see the ability. I mean, we're really gonna change lives here. You know what I'm saying?
That's all it's about.
We're going to change lives.
Growing.
And it's not about the job you find at Bitwise or anything. It's not about the job you find. It's about the career you make. Right. So it's like, I want people to say, yo, I want to learn this, get some skills, get some experience with Bitwise, but I want to open my own business. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Bitwise is very supportive, man. They
not for self. They want to see you grow.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. Dope. Yep.
That's dope. Yeah.
So I got a lot going on, man. Plus,
we see.
Plus, I own a marketing company, so we do the screen printing, graphic design, web design, video production, audio production. We got the studio. I got Bitwise.
Well, I see a millionaire right there.
Yeah. Not a millionaire. I want to be. You know what I'm saying? I think that.
No, you don't want to say you want to be. Say you gonna be.
I mean, I don't want to, take it out of God's hands. God
speaking into existence.
I'm speaking into existence. But I'm gonna be. God willing, I will be. You know what I'm saying? Within the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying? I definitely see it happening. And it's all about. You know what I learned, and I know I've been talking a lot. You know what I learned is that. When I started making money. Is when I stopped chasing money.
Ooh.
Just think about it. You chasing money, where's it going? It's running away from you.
Yeah, why chase it?
Stop chasing it. Let money come to you. And I started doing what I wanted to do.
But it's a saying. Mm-hmm. The money not going to come to you unless you go get it.
I don't believe that. I believe the money's not going to come to you unless you're doing what you're supposed to do. No, you got to
put the hard work in.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
That's chasing it right there, putting that work in. You see what I'm saying?
I feel you. But my thinking is that my whole life I've chased money. I was like, yo, I'm going to do this over there because they're making a lot of money. That's what I mean by chasing money. I'm going to do this because it's a higher salary. I'm going to do this because it's a higher salary. When I started doing this because it's my calling to do it.
There you go.
That's when money started just coming to me. Like I didn't ask.
You figured it out.
Literally, I got approached for my Bitwise job.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I got everything that I do now, it just happens because I'm doing what I believe that I was put on this earth to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And people have seen my commitment and my belief. Now, am I spread thin? Sometimes it takes a long time for me to call people back because I'm spread super thin. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. To get connected, to edit people's videos and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But now I'm at the level where I'm starting to build. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to build. I'm looking for people that want to do,
gotta show you their commitment, how consistent they is, dedicated.
I mean, I got a great dude, Tay. He's an artist. He's now manages my studio. You know what I'm saying?
See what I'm saying?
And
he shows you commitment, right?
Good dude. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
And that's what's up,
man. Yeah.
Well, we're going to end it up real quick, man.
Yes, sir.
Any last words you want to say to the people, man? Convince them, motivate them.
If you get anything out of what I'm saying right now, I'm looking over there, it's right there, right? If you get anything out of what I'm saying right now, it really is, like he said, that commitment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't get hung up on what people say we can't do. Get hung up on what you know you can do and what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? It's all possible, man. And also don't be afraid to fail, man. I told you how many businesses I had. I failed. You know what I'm saying? I failed, and you only fail when you quit, right? So I just had to readjust. You know what I'm saying, and figure it out. And I'm figuring it out little by little. That's why I said 10 years from now, you know what I'm saying, God willing, I'm alive. I'll be where I said where I think I should be. You know what I'm saying, or where I want to be.
That's what's up.
And you'll be right there, because I'm going to be like, yo.
We'll
be right next door to each other. Like, yo, what up, champ? Yo. Remember back when you said? Like, Yep. Absolutely.
That's a fact. Like you said, you got to be patient. You got to work hard, man. Mm-hmm. But I do want to talk about this. Get y'all tickets for the Let's Talk podcast anniversary. February 25th. We're going to have some good people in the building, man.
I want to be there, man. I want to be there, but I'll be out of town.
I know. Cancel the ticket, man. No, I can't. It's that flight, man.
My family will kill me like it's
a vacation. You got Tay coming to represent you, though. Tay coming to represent.
Tay's going to do that. Yep.
Still going to be a connection to your services and everything.
I might see if my partner Tink might be in town. I'll see if he can come in too.
But
I'll find out. Yeah, but
represent, man.
Absolutely.
So make sure y'all tune into Let's Talk Podcast.
Yes, sir.
I forgot the email, so I can't tell you if you want to be on the podcast. I forgot the email. Or I'll talk about that later. But thanks for tuning into Let's Talk Podcast.
Yes,
sir.
Send me your kids.
On the show, man.
Tell them send if you got a youth that is trying to deal with attendance issues or grades or whatever.
What's the ages now? They want to know the ages.
Good question. Good question. Right now we're doing high school only.
Only. Actually, I know somebody at my job that said her child keep going through stuff in school, and she feel like that because he don't have a father figure. Right. You get what I'm saying? And
and a mentor. You know what I'm saying? Like I serve when they're in here. Just to let you know, I know we ended off, but just to let you know, when they're coming here working in the studio, I'm also working with them on anger management, conflict resolution, communication skills. I'm even supporting them in math. People don't know music is all about math. You know what I'm saying? So they're learning while they're here, but we just don't learn it in a classroom. This is really like, do your 16 bars. Well, how many divide that into 4? Now they're in there doing it, every 4 lines.
So they're doing math and they don't even realize they're doing math. But they're doing it by enjoying something they like.
Exactly.
I like that. That's dope. That's dope, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
Man, thanks for coming on the podcast, man. Yes, sir. Tune into Let's Talk Podcast. We're going to be positive. We might have to bring some negative. Might have to bring Tamia back on here one time.
I got nothing against it.
You know what? I want you and Tamia over here. You gonna have to go.
Yo, listen. Without negativity, there's no positive.
That's
positivity. Without evil, there's no. And I'm not saying anybody's evil. But I'm saying without evil, there's no good. Right?
That's true.
You don't know good if you don't know evil.
That's true.
That's why the Bible has both sides. You see it all.
That's a fact.
I'm not saying
we're gonna bring you.
I love it.
We're gonna bring you to me out here.
I love it.
Judge Craig Hanneman.
I love it. Let's go.
Nah, we're gonna do it, man. All right, thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk Podcast.
Peace.